Flannery takes it from the back of the scrum and bursts the ball into the stand. Ireland have won here at Twickenham to keep their championship hopes alive going into the final weekend. Donald Lennon.
Yeah, look, it's been a phenomenal game, as I say. Right, I mean, the amount of action, the amount of vigour, intent, physicality, incredible commitment from both sets of players, and I'd love to see the ball in playtime. Continuity incredible. Huge respect from both sets of players. But Ireland, attacking wise, they just were that little bit sharper. As you mentioned, so many things they have to focus on. Their discipline was poor, give away too many penalties, poor at restarts, scrum under pressure. But you win on the road. It's so difficult to win on the road in this championship. They have to take the positives, but they'll know they were put to the pin of their collar in circumstances really that they shouldn't have been, with the numerical advantage they had for all but the first minute.
So then, 4 tries, the bonus points. James Lowe, Hugo Keenan, Jack Conan and Finlay Bealham means Ireland leave Twickenham with a precious victory. All on to the last weekend against Scotland. Final score then, England 15, Ireland 32. Jackie, down to you.
Thanks to you and Donal, and yeah, look, a precious victory and one that looked unlikely at times. You have to take the positives out of that, Jerry.
Yeah, listen, if you said to anyone that you're going to get a bonus point win over in Twickenham, they'd be like, take your hand off. So it was far from perfect. There was so many errors. Our discipline, the scrum was a major issue. But we've come away with 32-15 wins, a brilliant win. Yeah,
look, and against 14 men as well, Eddie, I suppose. Look, sometimes it's very difficult to play that way, but Ireland left themselves in a really difficult position when they played most of the game with a man up.
I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid on this one. This is a really poor performance. We didn't put England away after the 72nd, 73rd minute. 14 men for most of the game. I thought we were pretty rudderless for most of the game. We pulled away in the end. England were out on their feet. We put together a nice pass to play, the try that broke England, and it was all over. But at 3 points with 10 minutes to go, it was shocking. Our scrum was a mess. Our discipline was awful. Our handling errors were off the charts, and we still came away with a bonus point win because England just ran out of gas. But no one's going to convince me that if England had 15 men today, we'd have gone out and won playing like that. If we played like that against 15 men today, we wouldn't have won. Here's the facts. Now we can celebrate the win and the 4 points, winning in Twickenham, winning on the road. All that's great, but that is not a good performance. We can't expect teams to play with 14 men every week. So I'm not buying and drinking the Kool-Aid. Happy with the win, happy with the bonus point, but let's not get too carried away here.
Okay.
Zero crack, Eddie.
Yeah, no Kool-Aid, no crack, but a bonus point win. And in fairness, Jamie, you talked about this before the game. Coming to Twickenham, not an easy place to win. To get a bonus point win at that, very, very rare for an Irish team.
Yeah, like, you know, at the end of the day, you're playing England in Twickenham, right? That's going to be difficult. They went down to 14 men, yeah, and Ireland in the past have probably been a bit more ruthless with how they've done it. But this game is huge for a couple of different reasons. The fact that they won it as late as they did in the game shows to me a real good mindset in terms of staying in the fight that long. It's a really tight game. The crowd are really behind England. There was a lot of momentum going England's way, but they trusted the team, they trusted the process, and they got there in the end. Not only did they get there in the end, they had the wherewithal to go get a bonus point, okay? Which sets it up massively for next week, which is great. But that will stand to them. It wasn't pretty, Eddie's right, it wasn't pretty. Loads of errors. The scrum is definitely going to have to be looked at because England definitely did something to expose it there, particularly with Tyke Furlong as well, who's usually so consistent. And their work-ons. Well, make no bones about it, this is an absolutely huge win for this group going forward.
Eddie Jones spoke during the week, Jerry, about this physicality. He said that this was going to be like no performance that Ireland had ever come up against, and he was right.
Yeah, he probably didn't predict that we'd bonus point win them here at home.
True.
But what everyone knew, what was evident before the game is that the English team are really, really physical, very, very powerful. I think, look, you're not going to whitewash a team that's as good as England in every single area. So you know they had a clear advantage in the scrum. I think going back to what Eddie was saying, why it was so what kind of was underwhelming was the amount of errors that we made when we should have been in control. We had a numerical advantage, sure to have an advantage in the scrum, but you know, there was so many times when Ireland could have just held the ball for a little bit longer. But again, it's a bonus point win against England and Twickenham.
Yeah, look, a lot of people will take it, including Hugo Keenan, one of the players who has never experienced an atmosphere like this. He's with Claire.
Hugo, congratulations, a win at Twickenham. It's a rare thing and a bonus point in the end.
Yeah, we're delighted with the win, you know. It wasn't easy, probably wasn't our best performance. England made it difficult for us. Our set piece wasn't firing, but like, we're absolutely delighted. Like, we know how hard it is to come here to win, to get the points, and ultimately that's all that matters. So yeah, we'll take it and delighted.
Well, talk to us about that performance and those difficulties, because you were a man up and a try up very early on in this game, but then you seem to make life very difficult with yourselves. The scrum, as you mentioned, penalties, errors.
Yeah, definitely. They were sort of playing pressure rugby. We weren't probably accurate enough. Our intent was there and we were trying to play to the space, but it was just a little 1 or 2% off maybe. The fact they had 14 men, we probably didn't respect it probably enough, especially at the start, but I think we learned our lessons and finished off real well, and that was a huge takeaway. Yeah,
I suppose you had to rely on the replacements really to close out those final minutes.
Yeah, exactly. The bench had such a big impact. You know, I think we were saying there's 4 Lions on the bench, and yeah, you could really feel that they came in and really added a special element to it, and ultimately helped us to see out the game. So yeah, they made the difference.
And you're back home next weekend. You've got Scotland. You've got a Triple Crown at least to play for.
Exactly. That's what we've been talking about the last week or two. You know, chance to lift a bit of silverware at home in the Aviva in front of our home supporters, and that was the ultimate goal of today, to get in that position where we can get the Triple Crown, and you never know what might happen with the Six Nations. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Thanks, Hugo.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, look, and he's right in a lot of ways, Jamie, because silverware, whether it's a championship or Triple Crown, Ireland can win something next weekend, and for the milestone for this team to take another step in their growth, that word that we use, it is hugely important.
Yeah. The competitor in me goes like it's Six Nations or nothing at all. Like, the Triple Crown is nice to have a piece of silverware at the end, but like, it's not the Six Nations. That's what the goal is. They'll be killing. You know what? When it's all said and done, though, they're going to look back at that France game again. I hate to bring it up and just go, we let one slip away. But you know, credit to England. What England have done here have actually done probably other teams a favour. They've exposed that if you slow Ireland down, you can cause some problems. If you go after that ruck, if you get into a set piece, slow tempo game and get into an arm wrestle, you can cause some problems. The other side of that coin, though, is Ireland don't need a whole lot to score tries, and if they get into their multi-phase game, they are one of the best right now. That
was the fear, Eddie, that, you know, we talk about this Irish team with the cohesion that they have, but what happens when you break that cohesion, and we need those patterns to really work?
Yeah, but the problem for us today was we broke the cohesion. Like, England did very well. They played fantastically well, given that was against them. Their set piece was excellent. Their kicking game was very simple, but they brought huge pressure under it. The problem for us is we couldn't hold on to the ball. Like, our second last try was a really nice try, albeit against 14 men who were tired. But we needed to play like that for most of the game, particularly when England were down to 14 men, and we would have scored a lot more. The game would have been over a lot sooner. But they got into the last 10 minutes, the game was on the table, and all right, England cracked. But the problem for us is we should have been able to impose ourselves on that England 14 men, and we didn't impose ourselves. They imposed themselves on us, and it was only at the very end when they ran out of puff that we got a grip on the game. And yeah, that 14 points today was pretty flattering, but you take it when you get it. I'm not complaining about the scoreline, I'm just complaining about the fact that that game should have been over after an hour easily.
One crucial thing that helps us getting across the line is the subs that come on. You see Robbie Henshaw coming on, Jack Conan, they have a huge impact on this game.
Yeah, I thought Jack Conan in particular, and Henshaw, to be fair to them, they both gave us a lot of directness, and for Conan's try when he made the breach down I think over the far touchline and got the offload to James Lowe, it all started with that. So Eddie's not wrong. Like, there was a lot of stuff that was frustrating, but you got to see it that sometimes you got to go away and you got to win ugly, and we won really, really like with a flattering scoreline, and it was far from perfect. So it just shows that if we can tidy up on the stuff that we're generally good at, like we're right up there.
Just on, like, that's the sign of a quality side, that sometimes you play crap, right? And sometimes you can't help it. Mistakes just keep happening. The quality sides still somehow figure a way to win. And I think the impact of the bench made a huge, we were talking about it, Fla, huge difference there. And that just puts the pressure on again with selection, which is another conversation.
Even the last game we played Italy, it was not a non-contest, which isn't good prep for a game like this. So.
Yeah. Well, look, we talked about that bench impact, and one of the people who made a huge impact today, Jack Conan, he's with Clare.
Jack, congratulations. You came off the bench and made an impact with that much-needed try.
Yeah, like the lads put in savage work for 60 minutes, and to be fair to England, it's always tough when you're down to 14 and tired bodies, like you're doing that extra bit of work. So I think we stayed on it for 80 minutes. 80-minute performance is what we spoke about before the game, and it really paid dividends. And obviously it's great to get across the whitewash and to get on and even contribute in any way. I thought the lads put in a massive effort in the first 60. So look, it wasn't perfect, and there's lots of things to change next week. And destiny is in our own hand to a certain degree. We'll finish as many amounts of points as we can. We put ourselves in the best possible position everyone considered since Paris.
Because despite England being down that man, they really did dominate at times, particularly as we saw at the scrum.
Absolutely. They definitely had the upper hand at stages, and it's because they're obviously a quality outfit. We probably fed into a little bit with our own indiscipline. Silly mistakes ahead of the kicker, line out things in the side, things like that, things that we can control that, you know, Paulie and Faz and Foggs will be disappointed in, and so will ourselves. So it's always a learning experience, and there's always areas to get better.
Yeah, I suppose it would be disappointment that there was a lack of composure, I suppose, and control at key times when you needed it.
Absolutely. I think when a team goes down to 14, it's very difficult not to change your kind of mental approach to the game, and because you see holes a bit more everywhere else, you're more inclined to be a bit wider and not stay tight and not play tight shapes, and that feeds into them, because then they can get off the line, they can hit you, they can put you back, and you're kind of chasing shadows a little bit. So things like that happen. You have to go back to the original plan, stick to the system, tighten up, play through the holes, the space will come because they're working so hard. So it's a good lesson for us.
Well, on a positive note, you're leaving Twickenham with a bonus point.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen. You know, we spoke about the history that the country's had here in the last few years, and how difficult it is to come here and get a win. You know, we look back at 2018 and other years, and that we've won and lost, and took inspiration for that. So look, it's fantastic. These days don't come around often. We'll enjoy it, but it's back to the drawing board for next week in Scotland at home.
Plenty to play for against the Scots.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's going to be huge last week, and everyone's incredibly excited, and hopefully we all come through injury free, and you know, we're in a good position for next week.
Thanks very much, Jack. Congratulations.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Well, he's a player that had a point to prove today, and he's celebrating with friends and family tonight after scoring a try on a precious day in Twickenham.